to get to and not have backup on us because the new season will be here before we know it, won't it?
Well, it's very soon. As we record, it's pretty much 2 months exactly.
You know what? That's about right. 2 months exactly. That's crazy.
We are 2 months away from New York Comic Con.
Yeah, that's going to be bananas. And so we're going to do this tonight, and then your next show will be a commentary track for episode 5. I'm going to go ahead and play our first voicemail before we get into some news because it's from our old friend Jack, our 12-year-old listener, inspiring zombie filmmaker who has an update for us, which I found interesting and hilarious.
Hi, this is Jack. About my video, the zombie movie, I was working on it, and all of a sudden I pressed something and it deleted. And I would love to show you guys, but I can't because it was deleted. And I'm really sorry. I feel really bad about that. Yeah, and I just love what you guys have been doing so far. I love your little commentaries on shows. And yeah, I really do feel like you guys are like watching with me. It's pretty awesome. Yeah, and just keep up with the good work. Love you guys and love your show. Thanks. Bye.
So,
hey, Jack,
how do you delete the movie?
Hey, as the video editor, guys, and Jack, if I can totally understand what happened. And the thing is, you're not paying attention, you get lax, you think you're hitting one button and you hit another button, and before you know it, boom. Or you haven't saved your project yet, electricity goes out, or the program, force quits itself or something. If I had $1 for each time that happened to me, I would be a rich guy.
I have a message for young Jack, if I may, Russ. I'm sorry. Jack, there are just as many decaffeinated brands on the market that taste just as good as the real thing. That's all I'm going to say.
You lie.
Have we figured out, is Jack for real?
I think so.
Yes.
I think his voice has dropped about 3 octaves since his last voicemail, though.
He's probably 13 by now.
Probably.
I unfortunately for you, Jack, I make fairly decent money on the side now and again, fixing problems and finding stuff when folks do things like that. So I feel your pain, my friend.
And you know what? I think that voicemail was sponsored by somebody, wasn't it, Russ?
It was. It was sponsored by Discount Comic Book Service, dcbservice.com, where you can find all of your comic needs pre-ordered. You can use the code WD8 to save an additional 8%. You can catch up on the Walking Dead monthly comic, the Walking Dead weekly, if you wanted to go back and start at number 1. They are continuing their DC New 52 by offering 50% discount. It is 50%, right? If you order all of them.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct, just like number 1. So if you're into what's going on with DC and the fact they're starting everything over from number 1, you can partake in that. They also have a sister site in Stock Trades if you want to catch up on The Walking Dead and get it in comic form. You can find all of the trades and hardcovers and compendium and omnibus and just about any other format you could possibly think that they would capture The Walking Dead. I'm sure you'll find something to fit your budget and your personal needs. So check out
Don't forget the 2 board games and the new Walking Dead novel as well.
Absolutely.
I was just going to say they aren't just about comics. They also have T-shirts. They have the Walking Dead action figures available. Anything you can find in your previous catalog, you can get a DCB service for a sizable discount.
Russ,
Yes.
Again, that code is what now?
WD8.
The reason I bring it up again is because one of our listeners tried to use the code and he said it wasn't working. But I have been in contact with DCBS. They assure me it works. And they said if anybody is trying to use that code and it does not work, to give them an email. Their email address is customer.service@dcbservice.com, and they will take care of that for you. But they said it does work. He's tried. He's checked several times. It does work. So, if you guys try it and you're having an issue, just give me an email, customer.service@dcbservice.com. They will take care of it for you.
And I don't think that's something we emphasize enough when we do the sponsorships, but they have some of the best customer service, not just in the comic business, but just in business, period. If you have any kind of issue at all, they're really good about resolving it. I've never had really any screw-ups as far as shipments and things go. I've been a customer of theirs for probably 4 years now or so. I had one time where I got a book that kind of got mangled in the shipping, and dude, they made good on it immediately. My next shipment, they sent me another copy of it, no questions asked, didn't charge me anything for it. They respond to the emails. You're pretty quick, and like I said, they're just really, really good at customer service and making sure that you're happy, and they're willing to work with you on getting things situated, depending on what's going on.
They are on Twitter. That's another place to contact them. It's @DCB Service.
So, Jordan, why don't we take this opportunity to talk about the news regarding the novel since we're in that subject?
Yes, sir. Have it all queued up. If you are interested in buying that Walking Dead novel from DCB Service, but you go, I like to read, but I don't know. I've never read J. Bonnet Single's work before. I don't know if I'm really interested in this novel. Go to facebook.com/Walking Dead Novels. Actually, it's probably Walking Dead Novel, but the URL's a bit funny. Facebook.com/Walking Dead Novel. You can read the first chapter of the book for free. Just click like on the page, and it'll come right up. The full novel goes on sale on October 11th of this year. But like I said, you can get that first chapter for free right now.
That's cool. I'm going to make the time to read that soon. Has anybody taken a look? I kind of flipped through the pages to see how it was going to work on Facebook and everything, and it looks really cool. I did not read that first chapter yet, but we're going to have to do that and do some kind of review eventually.
Definitely.
Every time I pull it up to read it, I think, no, if I read it, I'm going to want to read more, so I'm not going to tell myself I'm just going to wait till I get the book and read it all, and then I'll put it away, and then I'll go back to maybe clicking on that link to read it again, and I'm like, no, I'm just going to wait. It's tempting.
It's pretty sweet how they're expanding the franchise and all these different mediums. We have the board game, with the video game coming out, action figures, and now we're getting novelizations. Pretty sweet.
Ooh, and they're talking about doing, I guess, what is it going to be, an OGN? Walking Dead 0?
Yeah, he's considering, Robert Kirkman is considering putting out an OGN, just like Russ said, calling it Walking Dead Volume 0, and it's a prequel of sorts, and it will examine the relationship of Shane and Lori to see how that got started.
And for our fans out there who only watch the show and our comic geeks like we are, OGN stands for Original Graphic Novel.
Thank you, Jim. Yeah, I forget sometimes that I fall into geek mode and realize that not everybody reads the comics.
It'd be interesting if they could get Tony Moore to come back and do the art on that OGN, since he did the first 6 issues of the Walking Dead.
That was my very first thought, and I think that would be sweet.
I have a voicemail here that kind of ties into the comic a little bit. It's from a listener who gave the comics a try after hearing our show, and we love hearing those stories. So here's that one.
Hi guys, this is Matt from Daytona Beach, Florida, and just wanted to tell you how much I appreciate your podcast. I got into The Walking Dead at the advice of a friend, and neither of us were into comic book. In fact, I'm not really into any comic books. I never really have been. It's never really ever been my thing. But the reason I was calling is because of the show. I got into your podcast. I was a huge fan of the show Lost, and listened to 4 or 5 podcasts about Lost. And to be honest, there's been kind of a hole in my entertainment world since Lost isn't gone and not having podcasts to listen to. I really enjoyed it. So you guys have really kind of filled a void in my entertainment life. So I got into The Walking Dead really just recently. I bought it on iTunes and watched it. Really dug it. And the reason for my call is I just finished the first 6 issues of the comic on my iPhone. Actually, got the app and bought the first 6 issues, and I kind of dig reading it like that because of the kind of the animated flow of it. The way that it goes. Sometimes it doesn't reveal a full panel right away. And I'm new listener to your podcast, so I've actually gone back and started from the beginning. So I'm not really current. So I don't know how much you talked about that, but it's really enjoyable, and I may get into getting the compendium or something like that. It's a really well-made comic, as you guys know, and for somebody like me, who's a complete novice in the comic book world, it has sort of gotten me into it, and it's kind of cool. So anyway, thanks for what you do, and I think I'll pop on iTunes and give you guys a great review. I just love the humor and all your information and everything about it, and I actually enjoy, now that I'm seeing some of the differences in the storyline, I enjoy both. Thank you guys. Keep up the great work. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you, Matt.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to come to the comic digitally. I really do. It seems to be the way things are going now with comics. It's so easy to get caught up, and with the tablets and everything, it's much more wieldy to read a comic that way. I know we talked about this on LOD, but I think we just barely touched on it here. And I think it's cool that people that are coming to the TV show first are able to come to the comic digitally and be able to get caught up as quickly as possible. And like you said, with limited animation and stuff like that added to it.
I wonder if the iPhone versions, do they maybe you click the screen and it bounces from panel to panel?
More or less, yeah. And sometimes it'll say inside one panel, but you'll see half of it first and half of it later, so you don't ever get confused with which panels read first or which speech bubbles come first, that kind of thing.
John, do you have access to an iPhone or an iPad?
Yeah, I do. My wife has the Verizon iPhone, so I was
You can download free comics from I know on the Marvel Comics app. You can download free ones and see how that works. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think I will. That sounds cool. I've downloaded comics on my Droid. I don't know if they're from the official places that you're supposed to download them from, but and you kind of have to like scroll around the page to find the word balloons and stuff like that. I mean, it's basically just like a PDF that you're scanning around on.
Yeah, this is
like,
going to be much more specialized than that, definitely.
yeah, I'm gonna check it out.
Actually, now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure the Android phones, because I have them on mine, I just realized they have, you can get a Comixology app, you can get a Marvel app, and a DC app, and you can download those free comics and experience them just the way I was mentioning about the iPad. You can do it on your Android phone now.
Cool. I will check that out. And
by the way, I decided to start carrying all my comic books rolled up and stuck in my back pocket. I think I'm just going to go back to the way it was when I was a kid.
I'm going to just throw this in quick. We did get a new iTunes review. It's not from Matt. It's from Michael, so it's a different person. But Michael says, at last, family-friendly zombie talk. He gives us 5 stars. Says, featuring a dedicated, knowledgeable group of survivors, this podcast presents a thorough recap of each episode, bringing together various opinions and observations. He mentions that he's glad that we are family-friendly, which is cool. We like to hear that because we work hard to stay as friendly as we can.
Maybe we should bleep that at the beginning then, huh?
No, I don't think we will. But it says...
Okay. Well, not all verbs.
He says, we are clean of both foul language and foul spoilers. So we work pretty hard to do that in both areas. So we appreciate the comments and the iTunes reviews. Keep them coming. We love them. We'll read them. Thank you.
Yeah, I could be very wrong about this next statement, and if I am, please feel free to correct me. But I know sometimes for you guys, it's kind of a hassle to remain with that way of doing things, but I appreciate it, and it's just something I like to take pride in.
It is not a pain in the neck at all. I think beeps are funnier than actually coming out and cursing, to be honest with you.
I do too. You know what? We should just start throwing random beeps in every once in a while.
You. Anyway, Jordan,
Because I was about to.
Jordan, hit us with some news, and then we're going to have to run our contest next, but we can fit a news item in before.
Sure. Let's go back 2 episodes when we talked about it. I don't know all the episodes mixed up in my head now. But we talked about how they're releasing the DVD and the Blu-ray version, and I said, hey, if there is a list of the special features out there, I haven't seen it. Well, thank you, Luthen, on Twitter, who sent me the full list. Here's what we've got. You get all 6 episodes, of course. You get all the special features from the Blu-ray and DVD editions that were already out. Plus, you get a black and white version of the pilot. You get audio commentaries on all 6 episodes. You get a special feature called We Are the Walking Dead, another one called Bring Out the Dead, KNB, and The Art of Making Zombies. KNB is Greg Nicotero's special effects company. Digital Decay, the VFX of Walking Dead, No More Room in Hell, The Walking Dead Phenomenon, Adapting the Dead, and Killer Conversations, Frank Darabont and Greg Nicotero, which I believe, if I remember correctly, were some bumpers that they used during last year's Fear Fest on AMC, where it was like they talk about some of the different horror movies that inspired them. And I saw a few of them, watched some of those movies, and they're very interesting, so I can't wait to check out all of them.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to get this set. It kind of brings us to our next point. Does everyone throw anything in about this new DVD set coming out before we...
Just that I am a sucker for special features. The more the merrier, so I'm happy to see this.
Me too.
I thought the original release was a little bare bones on the special features, to be honest.
I love the special features, and if I had a choice, between a 1-disc or a 2-disc version, I'd more than likely pick up the 2-disc version just for that.
My only comment is one day I will learn.
No, you won't.
You're right.
So,
Double dipper.
yes, and we have at least 3 double dippers in our group tonight. Russ, Brad, and myself all have the original Blu-ray.
Guilty.
editions. Yes, and we will be picking up the new special editions. So you, the listener, gets to benefit from that. And what we're going to do is I'm going to drop a Twitter message right now that says,
Hey, it's a family show.
we will take the first call at 516-468-7912, but you can't call because this was recorded days ago.
You guys leave us a voicemail message, so we'd appreciate it.
And I'm going to put that on Twitter. Be the first caller and try to win a Walking Dead Season 1 Blu-ray.
Do we want to do caller 9 like radios do?
We have to get 9 callers, Brad.
Yeah,
Oh, that's right.
This is a little short notice for everyone, so I'm going to do that. And maybe we can hit a little bit of light news while I wait and see if anyone calls.
Sure. Well, speaking of Greg Nicotero, like we were just a few minutes ago, he has been picked to direct 6, I believe it's 6, yes, 6 mini webisodes of Walking Dead that will premiere either alongside Season 2 or right before. But they're going to play on AMC's Fear Fest, which we were just talking about a few minutes ago. It's going to be 6 episodes that will follow a character named Hannah and her children who take shelter in her ex-husband's house from a horde of zombies. And I guess the idea is that these characters will eventually intermingle with our main cast, but it sounds like for these minisodes, it's just going to be her and her kids. And I don't know that I've ever seen anything Greg Nicotero has directed, but I'm definitely interested in seeing what he can do there.
Okay,
Did you say
we
how
have a
long
call.
these are going to be?
We have a call.
They're calling them webisodes, but I don't know.
Who is this?
Hey, hi, this is Julius Nunez.
You are on the Walking Dead TV podcast.
Yeah, I just saw this tweet come out. I just randomly checked it. Did I get it?
Well, we're going to put you through some rigorous tasks first.
Tell us your name again. I couldn't hear you.
Julius Nunez.
Cool.
Julius,
What's your Twitter name?
Twitter, it's my name. It's Julius Nunez. Not very imaginative.
That's okay. Mine's my name too, so no biggie.
Okay,
Thanks
so
for paying attention.
we're going to, you're going to have to answer 2 questions. The first one is easy. Do you own a Blu-ray player?
I have a PS3.
Perfect.
The best Blu-ray player out there, by the way.
Yes.
All right, so you're going to have a 1 in 4 chance of getting this correct. You're on the phone with John, Jim, Jordan, and Brad. One of us has dyed their hair blue at one point. Can you guess who it is?
Let's see. Jordan.
That is correct.
Yeah, but
Great.
I just want you to know,
Chicken dinner.
I was going to give it to you anyway, but I just wanted you to squirm a little bit.
That's pretty cool. Thank you.
You got it. If you can, Julius, if you can email comments at walkingdeadtv.com and give us your information, we'll get Blu-ray out to you.
Awesome. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for listening and watching the Twitter and everything.
Thanks, Julius.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
You too.
Actually, I would have been an acceptable answer too if you'd counted the 80s. So.
Oh, yes, the 80s. Hey, we got another one, but they
no,
missed
we
out.
never discussed the 80s.
You weren't even around.
I was around for a little less than a third of it.
So back to the webisodes. It's pretty. You know what? I'm interested because Nick Tero's involved.
Yeah, we know he's a visual genius, so I'm interested to see what he can do behind the camera.
Did you
And he's
mention,
from Pittsburgh.
Jordan? I was kind of half looking out for phone calls and stuff. Did you mention how long they would be? Is there any indication of?
We don't know. I mean, it's labeled a webisode. I don't think I've ever seen a webisode that was longer than 10 minutes. Usually it's around 5. Although, if we want to say, they want to be able to combine these into a 45-minute or 44-minute full-length episode at some point, you can do the math from there, but that's all guessing.
It also might be something that ends up on the special features of season 2.
Definitely, I would assume that's the case.
Did you guys see the movie Paul with Simon Pegg and Nick Frost?
I saw the trailer.
I saw it.
I loved it, and the only reason I bring it up is because Greg Nicotero did the special makeup effects on there.
Oh, cool.
That was a funny movie.
I loved it. John, he also did special makeup and creature effects for Predators.
Yes. I've been meaning to watch that again soon. And we're gonna give away. We'll decide which Blu-ray Julius is getting, and then the remaining 2 of us with the defunct Blu-ray sets will give our.
I think it should be you since you asked him the questions.
Okay. Fair
And
enough.
then,
Maybe we can
next
put one
time,
on
less-
Facebook next time,
Yeah.
or we'll mix it up.
So one last news story before we get to our ultimate argument one. I don't even know if it'll be an argument, but our big news story. They've announced, and this is in connection with the idea of a Walking Dead Volume 0 book, that 2 or 3 episodes of Walking Dead Season 2 will either be flashback episodes or we'll have flashback segments, kind of like how we had at the end of Season 1. So we'll get to see more about that whole Lori and Shane and Rick relationship, the triangle there, whether there was a triangle, exactly how they got along or didn't get along. What are you guys' thoughts on some flashback stuff in Season 2?
It doesn't bother me. I mean, there aren't, other than one that in particular I can think of, there aren't any in the comic. There's just the one that I can think of. So, it's kind of cool. That's, what we were saying. The cool thing about the show is that while we're familiar with it, we're not familiar with everything because of the way they're doing it. So, I'm cool with that. Bring it on.
I just don't want to know anymore. The spoilers are beginning to mount, and there's actually been some details about what the flashbacks will cover and stuff. I just don't want to know.
Yeah, I'm trying to stay away from the more spoilery details myself, which is difficult when I cover the news, but I too much.
Yeah, it's kind of one of the pitfalls of being a fan. I mean, you want to keep up on the latest on Walking Dead Season 2 and what's going on, but then again, on the other hand, you don't want to be spoiled for the story. I mean, the only flashback I could think of in the original season was Rick waking up in the hospital. Am I right?
There's also the Shane flashback where he flashes back to when he was at the hospital as well, rather, but when he was covering Rick's door, etc.
Right. I think if obviously if they serve the story well written and well done, then they're welcome. But I really don't see the need for that being filled out any more than it already is. I mean, personally, maybe other people would feel differently. So.
I'm fine with a sequence. I don't want to see a flashback episode. I think that's a little
Yeah, I agree with you there.
too much. But if they just want to give us a scene here and a scene there to flesh it out a little bit, that's fine.
One other Walking Dead story before we get to the big one is Scott Ian from Anthrax. If you're a big metalhead or you watch a lot of VH1, you've probably seen this guy before. He's the bald one with the big goatee. Not even a goatee, it's just from the bottom of his chin down. But he's going to be cameoing as a zombie in Walking Dead Season 2.
Now, in our wishes before Season 1 started, we said that we didn't want any celebrity zombies, but I don't really count Scott Ian because nobody's going to know him except for the hardcore Anthrax fans. So I'm okay with it.
I think you could actually be one of those people that you'll recognize even if you don't know Anthrax. Like you won't be able to place him, but you go, I've seen that guy before somewhere.
You can because you're a metalhead.
But I'm not even a big Anthrax fan. I just recognize him from other things. He gets around.
Yeah, he's been on the I Love the 80s, I Love the 90s shows on VH1. I know they did that. They've done tours with other bands, part of the quote-unquote Big Four, with Metallica, Megadeth, and Slayer. I think he's fairly well known not only in metal circles but beyond. Plus, he has a very distinctive look. I mean, even if you don't know him from the band or whatever, you see his picture in the article saying he's going to be in The Walking Dead. I mean, you got to look at him. You're going to see him as a zombie. He's going to stick out. He doesn't look like everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can. It doesn't bother me. It's not Charlie Sheen as a zombie. You know what I mean? Like, it's just obscure enough of a person that I don't mind it.
Plus, I doubt they're going to linger on it and make a big deal out of it, and be like, hey, look, it's him, blah, blah, blah. They'll just probably
Carrying it hard.
Yeah, and probably be just another extra in the pack, maybe in the front of the
Yeah, I'm fine with it too.
Yeah, as long as it's not obtrusive to the story, I don't care.
All right, I guess we're ready to break more bad news.
Yeah, well, as we talked about an episode or two ago, Frank Darabont is no longer with The Walking Dead as in any capacity, it looks like now. The word has broken since last time we recorded that he did not step down from The Walking Dead. He was fired by AMC.
It's pretty shocking to me. I mean, we all had a pretty good idea that he wasn't leaving because he was overwhelmed by doing a television show or because he wanted to do another project, which was kind of rumored about. But I would have bet that he quit because of the budget problems or whatever. Hearing that he was fired is it was a huge shock to me.
Were we given specifics as to why that happened?
Well, I mean, it's still connected to the budget problems. Apparently, they were filming episode 3 or 4, and some footage came back, and he was trying to add in a lot of stuff in post that he didn't do in actual production, and that was going to cost quite a bit of money. And AMC told him, I guess, for not the first time, no, you can't do this. You needed to do it in actual production, and this is going to cost too much. You're through.
Yeah, the comment I heard was the studio said that this footage was unusable. Not that there were things missing, but they deemed it unusable, whatever that means.
And I've heard in these, now the articles are just coming out like crazy with the revelations and stuff. And one thing I do keep hearing is things like, quote, he's notoriously not easy to get along with. He's probably very strong-minded, especially about keeping the integrity of his work and everything. So there were definitely some conflicts between the studio and him.
Well, I mean, I think I speak for all of us when we said we don't want to see Frank Darabont go, but let me play devil's advocate for a minute. You're managing a network here, AMC, that is a basic cable network. It isn't HBO. It isn't getting that extra revenue stream from subscribers paying extra for that channel. They're getting a much smaller slice of that pie. So their operating budget has to be much lower than something like HBO or Showtime, and that definitely would have to be passed on to the production budget. I mean, right now they're juggling 3 of the biggest shows on TV: Breaking Bad, Mad Men, and Walking Dead, all with very for basic cable television, very high production values. So
Plus, they've got a number of new shows coming in as well.
Right, and to keep all those things going, I mean, something would have to give somewhere because they just don't. They probably literally. I mean, I'm not sticking up for Hollywood fat cat executives here. I'm just saying, if they don't have the money, they don't have the money. It's bottom line.
My only counter to that is, I mean, yeah, they're not HBO, but HBO doesn't have paid advertisement. HBO gets their money from actual subscription, whatever the cost is per subscriber. AMC, based on what I read, they get 29 cents per cable subscriber, which is about a third, almost a fourth of what USA and FX get. Now, granted, the amount of original programming on AMC is compared to USA and FX are kind of night and day, but they're a commercial network, so they can sell ad time. The other thing is, if the budget was okay for season 1 at 6 episodes, given what they thought the ratings would be, you fast forward and the ratings were way better than they would have expected and just huge overall. Blew away their expectations. Why would you cut the budget for season 2 from season 1 if it exceeded your expectations? I mean, my thinking would be, okay, you had a budget in mind based on what your ratings would be and what your income level is going to be. And if it went beyond that, you would think that they could sell more or a higher ad rate for season 2, which would yield, I mean, if nothing else, a static budget, not a cut. Now, one of the things I do realize is they were getting a pretty big tax break for filming in Georgia for season 1 that my understanding is they're not getting for season 2. So I can understand, if they're not really willing to expand. But the contraction of the budget is what really just kind of makes me scratch my head.
Did they actually contract it per show, or did they not raise it?
I believe it is slightly contracted. I have seen the numbers. I want to say it's about a 15% cut overall per episode. I have more to say on that later, but I'll let Russ finish.
Yeah, you haven't even gotten to the part that really amazes me.
I'm assuming you're talking about the indoor versus outdoor?
Yeah.
Well, what Brad is talking about is they want to do more indoor shooting and less outdoor shooting because it's a lot cheaper, and actually a lot more comfortable for the actors too, but it's a lot cheaper to shoot indoors and a lot more predictable where you have lighting that you can control, you have sets you control, than it is to film outdoors. Actually, that could factor quite a bit into the flashback episodes we were talking about before, or flashback segments. Flashback segments, they can be indoors, they can be on a set. There's no reason for them to be outside.
Well,
Yeah, I guess.
we have seen where the story's headed in the tease, that they showed at Comic-Con, and we know what happens in the comic, as far as that story goes. So there is a bit of indoor shooting that they would probably have to do for this storyline. So,
right.
It's not it's not out of the question, to try to accommodate some of that. I guess now that I think about it.
Right. To go back a little bit and talk about the money problems, and granted, this is all arguendo and a lot of stuff that I've just seen posted over the internet, but
Did you make that word
the
up?
basic reason why AMC is in this arguendo,
Yeah.
you'll see that in legal documents all over the place, briefs and memos. It's a quasi-legal term.
That's
It-
awesome.
It means arguing from something you're inferring.
That's my new favorite word.
It is a fun word. But yes, so the reason AMC is in this situation, John, you called it last episode cluster. I would call it more growing pains. Here's the problem. AMC is a fairly new network in terms of original programming. As you mentioned before, Russ, they have currently about 4 shows on the air. They have a couple more coming up. They've had a couple in the past, as opposed to, let's say, an HBO or an FX that has that many new shows on pretty much all the time. So you have Mad Men, you have Breaking Bad. Those are the 2 critical hits. They don't bring in a ton of viewers, although it's growing every season, especially for Breaking Bad right now. It's pretty incredible. But they get great critical response, and they bring in high-class advertisers. So you have Matt Weiner, he's basically the Robert Kirkman of Mad Men. Matt Weiner, he's the head writer, he's the creator of the show, he controls everything. This past season, you might notice there's been no Mad Men on the air. Mad Men would generally be on the air right about now, and it simply never showed up. They've only recently started shooting, I think, and that's because they were in contract negotiations for forever. It looked like Mad Men might even leave the network. Matt Weiner wanted an extra $10 million for the season. And as shows get older, the actors are making more money, the executive producers are making more money, and if you've seen Mad Men, you know that it's certainly deserved, but these things do get more expensive as the shows get further along in years, and Mad Men's about 5 seasons in now. Breaking Bad is on its 4th now, they've just shown up for the 5th season. So there's $10 million that AMC does not have. They don't have a ton of money. That's $10 million that's taken out of the running for other shows. Breaking Bad then had just recently some issues where they're trying to negotiate for a 5th and final season. AMC wanted less episodes because, again, they don't have as much money as they used to, or they were trying to cut different parts of things. They finally come to a conclusion for that. They're going to get a 16-episode final season, which is actually better than I expected. They usually have 13 episodes in a season. It's going to be a 5th and final season. And presumably they didn't have to cut anything. It looks like they're going to keep their cast. They're staying on AMC. They're getting even more episodes than before. So again, this means AMC, a network that only has a couple shows, and they have more shows coming down the pipe. They have Hell on Wheels. They have season 2 of The Killing. They have a couple others in development. It looks like Walking Dead just kind of got the short end of the stick, not because of anything they did wrong, but because AMC needs to continue growing the brand, and they might be making some weird decisions, but I'm putting it as growing pains. They simply don't have as much money for all the things they want to do.
I just can't. I see your point. I don't disagree with your point with the motives behind what they've done. But how do you choose to cut short the one that's doubling the viewership of any of those other shows you mentioned?
Well, there's 2 reasons. One, you can cut the budget a certain amount, and it's not going to affect viewership in any negligible way, any noticeable way. If the people like the show, they're going to continue to watch the show.
But Jordan, you know what does cut into your viewership? Negative buzz and word of mouth of bad things going on.
That's true, but you got to keep in mind, 99% of the people who watch that show don't pay attention to internet buzz, have no idea about, they don't know who wrote the show, they don't know who directed the show, they don't care. They go there to watch zombies.
I have no clue who those people are. I know they're there. I'm not arguing you. I just
Well, they're certainly not in our group, the people we hang out with. We're into all that minutia, but we are the weirdos in the situation. Not everybody cares about this kind of stuff.
I was only just now starting to develop an interest in watching those other 2 shows, and
now you're mad at them.
yeah, now I have no desire to watch them. And maybe
But why are you mad at them for getting paid for putting out an awesome product?
I don't know that it's awesome. I know the one I've watched is awesome, and I don't want it to go away.
Well, it's not going away.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's not gonna make it past season 2.
Well, it's only time's going to tell.
Well, I realize that, but I just have a feeling that AMC's gonna let it die, which is horrible, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that's just my gut. So maybe it's childish, maybe it's unfounded, but I'm gonna do what I can to punish them by not watching those other 2 shows.
Which
I
will
have
only hurt
zero-
Breaking, but will only hurt Mad Men. Or not Mad Men,
I have
will only hurt
zero
Walking Dead.
interest in how will it hurt Walking Dead.
Because if they have less viewers and they're not selling as many DVDs and other shows, they have less money to go to The Walking Dead.
Well, I don't have Nielsen box, so
It's a
whatever.
communal, but no, they're going more from DVDs and stuff. The other, I said there's 2 reasons why they would cut the budget for season 2. As you guys know, most pilots have a much higher budget than the rest of the season. It's standard practice in television. Your pilot will have anywhere from 3 to 10 times as much of a budget as any one episode from the rest of the show. You want to make sure you've got to build those sets, you've got to get all those actors, you've got to make everything look really good because it's a pilot and you want to get as many viewers as possible. Well,
Well,
AMC,
you said, just to speak to your first point before you finish with your second, you say that the cuts they're making are going to affect the production overall. I don't think Frank Darabont would agree with that statement, or else he probably wouldn't have left.
oh no, I'm not sure I said exactly that, but I'm saying not to a point where the average viewer is going to notice.
Well, here's the important thing. When the show gets canceled, whenever it may be, and we're going to have like all these listeners, and we're going to have to come up with a cool way to keep our show going. Like I used to listen to the Galactica Water Cooler. It was a podcast for Battlestar Galactica. And then when the show ended, they changed it to the Galactic Water Cooler, and it's just all about science fiction. So we have to think of the WDTV. We have to use those 4 letters to keep our podcast name, but talk about other crap.
But to finish the thought on it being a pilot, from the beginning, you can go back to articles right when they announced they were doing a 6-episode first season. AMC has pretty much always said that they were viewing that first season as a pilot. Episodes 1 to 6 is just an extended miniseries pilot. And so if you want to follow the logic of you always cut the budget after the pilot, it would make sense that season 2 would have a slightly smaller budget per episode.
Quit sucking
It
up to the
sounds to
man,
me like
Jordan.
you're grasping at straws, dude.
No, they've said that, I believe, as well. It is fairly standard.
I mean, I get it, but what worries me more is not the actual cutting of the budget. I mean, I agree with you in some respect, Jordan, that you could trim fat here and trim fat there, and you cut back things, and you wouldn't really notice. And I think there's, they can reuse a lot of things. There's certain things that they have that are either already built or that are on hand, or that they may be able to find somebody else to do a little more cheaply. My concern is just the meddling, and we've seen it on the movie side. Sony steps in and they want Sam Raimi to bring in Venom as well. When he only wants to bring in the Sandman and things. We get Spider-Man 3. We see it time and time again where we saw with X-Men: The Last Stand. The studio or the suits get involved, and because of either budget or because they think they know better or because whatever the reason, that the meddling in general has a negative impact on the show. And it could be the negative impact is the actors or the crew or just their perception in Hollywood and their ability to get talent that's engaged. I mean, we're hearing a lot of rumor right now. I mean, nobody's talking. At AMC, the cast isn't talking. The crew doesn't want to talk. And the quote I heard as well, it's a zombie show. And if you're pick your character, and you're Jeffrey DeMunn, and you come out and you start blasting AMC to stick up for Frank Darabont. Well, guess who's going to get killed off in episode 4 of season 2? That kind of thing. And so like I said, my fear is just the meddling, because I just that concerns me more than the budget. I guess is what I'm getting at.
Well, we haven't heard any reports of meddling aside from Darabont and them wanting to shoot more indoors to save budget. We haven't heard we want a character who does this, or we want less characters who are like that, or etc.
But to me, that's enough. I mean,
But all those stem from the budget. That's one thing.
true. Well, yeah, they stem from the budget, but again, you've impacted in a dramatic way your chief creative talent, and your push to film 4 days indoors and 4 days outdoors is shoehorning what kind of stories you're going to tell, or how you tell them, or where the show is going, that kind of thing. And so again, that concerns me. I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, ultimately it gets down to budget, but still, it's suits dictating the creative side of the show.
And I just think it's all unnecessary. I just think it's all unnecessary. I mean, I don't think I'm definitely not on the side of the fence with Brad, where that it's going to get canceled after this year, and I think it's still going to be fine. I just think that all of this was unnecessary. They're like totally, crapping where they eat, for lack of a better term. I mean, I can't, whatever. I've said it enough. But Jordan, I love your cockeyed optimism. I love it, and the show's going to be great. And
I'm curious though, Brad or John, what would you have done differently? Or Jim or Russ?
I would have went to the other shows and said, hey, guess what? Walking Dead beat your pants in, and we're going to up their budget, and you guys are going to take the cut. And
Then they would have lost those other shows, which are what.
wait a minute. Why would they have lost those other shows, but we're not going to lose Walking Dead?
They don't own them. Sony owns, I believe it's Sony owns Breaking Bad, and they were fully willing to bring it to another network. That was the threat. And I think it's Warner Brothers owns Mad Men, and they threatened to bring it to another network as well. They threatened to take it completely away from AMC.
All right, well, that makes a lot
Lionsgate
more
owns
sense.
Mad Men.
Oh yeah, Lionsgate, that's what it is. And Sony owns Breaking Bad.
Did you say that before and I wasn't listening?
No, it is true.
Oh, that's
They
a
almost
huge
lost those
point.
shows.
That's a huge point.
Yeah.
That makes more sense to me now.
But
Yeah, that's part of the story I didn't know.
Sorry, I forget that I follow these stories a little bit closely than everybody else.
No, it's fine. But the other thing is, and it gets to the point where you're reading how Vince Gilligan, the showrunner, the Frank Darabont of Breaking Bad was treated, and the guy from Mad Men. Again, the concerning part is how they were treated by AMC. That or at least how it's being purported they were treated.
Oh, I agree.
That they were being treated poorly. And again, I think that just it says more about the network as a whole than it does about this specific situation. I mean, take Walking Dead out of the equation, and they've got 2 successful, critically acclaimed shows that I think are getting more and more positive word of mouth as the seasons go on, and they're treating the showrunners poorly, and especially with Breaking Bad and Mad Men, because they could walk, like you said, and go somewhere else. Now, again, your viewership increased over a season for The Walking Dead, almost unheard of. So why don't you go back to your advertisers and just say, you know what, whatever we were charging you ad-wise for season 1, it's gone up by 30% or whatever, because the ratings were 30% higher or 40% higher where they were for season 1. It just seems like if you're increasing viewership, you can get more ad revenue. I mean, it's just like anything else. I mean, when you sell ad space for the Super
Well,
Bowl,
I'm sure they are. I don't know any numbers specifically.
Yeah, I'm sure it's coming on both ends. I'm sure there's got to be just a scale for that stuff. Like, these are your ratings. This is what you're supposed to be getting with advertising. And they're probably getting that extra and cutting the budget. That's the way you probably run a good business. You know what I mean? Like, those guys are making a lot of money.
Right.
Well, and we talked about it earlier or a couple episodes ago, but AMC either recently became or is about to become publicly traded, which means they're going to have not only responsibility to the creative forces, to the advertisers, etc., but also to stockholders, which means they have to drive a profit. And if they can't do it, which it seems like they're between a rock hard place, somebody with a laser and some meth heads, who do you say, hey, we have to cut your budget? They have to be a dick to somebody. Who are they going to be a dick to? And unfortunately, it seems like it's Frank Darabont at this point.
There's another part of the story that we haven't mentioned, and I don't think really has been mentioned in the news or anything, and that's Robert Kirkman. What, if any, kind of say does he have in any of this that's going on?
Well, he's still there, so I mean,
He's
he's not
executive
walking away.
producer, too.
He's not walking away from his,
No, he's going to do what he can to make it the best, that they can. If they had $40 to make one show and they got 20, he's going to find a way to make it work. But I just think it's interesting that we haven't heard anything from him, and maybe he knows, to hold his tongue. He may be as worried and upset about it as we are right now, but it's just I want to hear from him. I want to hear his take on it.
I'm going to ask him at New York Comic Con.
off the record.
Yeah.
I'm totally going to tell everybody.
I don't have a recorder in my pocket.
I do have a decent memory. I mean, and all of this, and nobody's right or wrong in the situation because we simply don't know. This is, to use Brad's new favorite word, this is a lot of arguendo on both sides. In the end, it's going to depend on what we see on screen, and hopefully in 2 months, and 3 months, and 4 months as the season progresses, hopefully we can look at those episodes and say, hey, they're still good.
Yeah, and obviously that's what everybody's rooting for, and this is just stuff to talk about between seasons when we run out of other stuff. So.
But it's a pretty big story. It's one of those things where we can only hope, and hopefully it'll be just as good, if not better, with Len Mazzara. And if you want to see what his work is, check out our next episode, which is going to be that commentary of Wildfire, which he wrote.
Right. Otherwise, real soon, this could be the Wolf Den TV podcast. Or
Arguendo is a Latin legal term meaning for the sake of argument.
Yep.
the
Fun, right?
Weird Dads TV podcast.
The Weird Dads.
There you go.
We're done taking
Vitamins.
podcast.
We'll have to work on that.
Brad was going to go another direction with the pill, but
Ooh. Call your doctor after 4 hours, pal. Hey, what's
Weird
close this
Organ
up?
Division podcast.
that's a mix.
Bring it home, Jordan.
So that's it for this episode. And if you've got anything to say with this giant story, which I'm sure you do, leave us a voicemail, 516-468-7912, or send us an email at comments@walkingdeadtv.com. Check out Half Hour Wasted on Mondays. It's the Brad Show. We're the Legion of Dudes on Thursdays. That's my show, John's show, Jim's show, and Rush's show. And don't forget, we have a brand new show on the feed out now with Aaron and Abe, where they discuss all the movies that are out now in theaters. You can find all those at hhwlod.com. Check out our Facebook groups for Legion of Dudes, Half Hour Wasted, Walking Dead TV, and Media Minutes. And follow us on Twitter at WDTV Podcast and at HHWLOD_network.
Hey, I forgot a voicemail, and we're going to leave you with it. It's about an angry listener, well, an angry viewer. They're not mad at us, they're mad at AMC. But we'll leave you with that as we take off. So see you next time.
The Walt Disney Transvestite podcast.
There's a lot of them.
Hello, my name is Terry. I'm calling from Michigan. This is the Walking Dead TV podcast. I just want to let you know that I sent AMC an email just to explain how I appreciate everything they've done, but I don't appreciate how things have been treated with The Walking Dead and Breaking Bad also. And I'm just really worried that how things are being handled is affect the show creatively and eventually be a demise. I said it in much nicer terms than that, but I don't know. I thought I'd want to share that with you guys. It's thought. The podcast. Look forward to the next episode.
So until there's no more room left in hell and the dead walk the earth, remember, when you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. But when you arguendo, well, let's just keep it at that. Have a good week. Now I'm hungry, damn it.
Please melt your chips right into the mic. It's very professional.
I had some great General Tso's chicken tonight. It's awesome.
So what number is this?
31.
31 flavors of brains.
Who's puffing on the bong?
I was just going to say, that sounded like college. That sounded like my college years.
Yeah, man, there's gonna be zombies in season 2.
Whoa, dude, if I blow my brains out, will they be able to eat my brains?
I'm recording all this, so feel free to
I'm
use
outside
it.
my body, so they can eat whatever they want. Now I'm craving more than just food. Damn it.
I'm craving something that would make me crave more food.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's wrong.
All right, are we ready?
Let's do this.
I'm ready.
Let's light this candle.
31.
31.
Mute.
31 flavors of brains.
Hi, this is Jack.
Oh, that's
about my
loud.
video.
Okay, ready? There's a blooper for you. Here it is.
The song it was.
Here it is again after I rewind it all the way.
Is that phone call already gone?
Yeah, the other phone call's gone. I guess we'll take some that maybe we'll take a few and make them answer the question and then tell them they weren't first.
No, that's not cool.
No, I guess not.
We can still take them.
Yeah, we can take them. If we get any more, I will let you know. I'm gonna bring a caller in. I'm gonna try. I failed. I failed to bring a caller in. Wookiee Dreams TV podcast.